Supporting contacts. You should not put too much trust in any unproved conjecture, even if it has been prolonged by a great authority, even if it has been propounded by yourself. You should try to prove it or to disprove it. You should test it. We test Goldbach conjecture if we examine some new even number and decide whether it is or it is not a sum of two odd primes. Let us examine, for instance, the number 60. Let us perform a quasi-experiment. As Euler expressed himself, the number 60 is even, but it is the sum of two primes. Is it true that 60 is made by 3 and prime? Number 57 is not a prime. Is 60 is made by 5 plus prime? Okay. The answer is again no. 55 is not a prime. If it goes on this way, the conjecture will be exploded. Yet the next trial yields 60 is made by 7 and 53. And 53 is a prime. The conjecture has been verified in one more case. The contrary outcome would have settled the fate of the Goldbach's conjecture once and for all. If trying all primes under the given even number, such as 60, you never arrive at a decomposition into a sum of two primes. You thereby explode the conjecture irrevocably. Having verified the conjecture in the case of the even number 60, you cannot reach such a definite conclusion. You certainly do not prove the theorem by a single verification. It is natural, however, to interpret such as a verification as a favorable sign, speaking for the conjecture, rendering it more credible. Although, of course, it is left to your personal judgment how much weight you attach to this favorable sign. Let us return for a moment to the number 60. After having tried the primes 3, 5, and 7, we can try the remaining primes under the 30. Obviously, it is unnecessary to go further than the 30, which equals 6 divided by 2, since one of the two primes, the sum of which should be 60, must be less than 30. I see. We obtain so all the decompositions of 60 into a sum of two primes. 60 is made by 7 and 53, which is made by 13 and 47, which is made by 17 and 43, which is made by 19 and 41, which is made by 23 and 37, which is made by 29 and 31. We can proceed systematically and examine the even numbers one after the others, as we have just examined the even number 60. We can tabulate the result as follows. Oh yes, please look at the okay, fine. Let me read them all again. 6 is made by 3 and 3. 8 is made by 3 and 5. 10 is made by 3 and 7, which is made by 5 and 5. 12 is made by 5 and 7. 14 is made by 3 and 11, which is made by 7 and 7. 16 is made by 3 and 13, which is made by 5 and 11. 18 is made by 5 and 13, which is made by 7 and 11. 20 is made by 3 and 17, which is made by 7 and 13. 22 is made by 3 and 19, which is made by 5 and 17, which is made by 11 and 11. 24 is made by 5 and 19, which is made by 7 and 17, which is made by 13 and 11 and 13. So it repeats until 30, right? Okay, so I can see there is a pattern. Conjecture is verified in all cases that we have examined here. each verification that lengthens the table strengthens the conjecture, renders it more credible, adds to its plausibility. Of course, no amount of such verification could prove the conjecture. We should examine our collected observations. We should compare and combine them. We should look for some clue that may be hidden behind them. In our case, it is very hard to discover some essential clue in the table. Still, examining the table, we may realize more clearly the meaning of the conjecture. The table shows how often the even numbers listed in it can be represented as a sum of 2 primes, 6 just once, 33 times. The number of such representations of the even number 2n seems to increase irregularly with n. Goldbach's conjecture expresses the hope that the number of representations will never fall down to 0. However far we may extend the table. Among the particular cases that we have examined, we could distinguish 2 groups: those which preceded the formulation of the conjecture and those which came afterwards. The former suggested the conjecture, the latter supported it. Both kinds of the case provide some sort of contact between the conjecture and the facts. The table does not distinguish between the suggestive and supporting points of contact. Now, let us look back at the foregoing reasoning and try to see in it traits typical of the inductive process. Having conceived a conjecture, we tried to find out whether it is true or false. Our conjecture was a general statement suggested by the certain particular instances in which we have found it true. We examined further particular instances. As it turned out, the conjecture is true in all instances examined. Our confidence in it increased. We did, it seems to me, only things that reasonable people usually do. In so doing, we see to accept a principle. A conjectural general statement becomes more credible if it is verified in a new particular case. Is this principle underlying the process of induction?